Hey there, Spicy Ukers. One of the questions I get the most is, should I play high G or low G? And honestly, it's a great question because the difference between the two is huge. They sound different, they feel different, and they even change the way you play. Today, I'm going to break it all down for you in 5 clear, super practical points that will help you understand the real difference between these two. I'll show you some musical examples so you can hear and feel the contrast. And at the end of the lesson, I'll give you my personal advice on which tuning is the right one for you, depending on your style, level, and musical goals. Everything will be demonstrated on these 2 beautiful color ukes. This one is a solid spruce top tenor ukulele, tuned for a high G. And here is my low G ukulele. This one is a concert-sized travel ukulele by Kala. As you can see, it has a very thin body, which is perfect for traveling. I have attached an affiliate link with a 10% off from Kala in the description, so make sure to check it out. So let's jump into point number 1, the sound identity. Hawaiian style versus guitar-like. Let's start with the high G ukulele. The sound of the high G ukulele sounds punchier, brighter, and more cheerful. And it definitely reminds us of the classic Hawaiian sound, as well as the island strum. I love using the high G tuning for cheerful songs, so for music styles which sound happy, such as reggae, pop songs, as well as country music. And now let me show you the low G as a reference. The low G tuning sounds warmer, fuller, and deeper. It feels like a mini guitar with a capo on the 5th fret. Those low frequencies definitely emphasize the emotion, the depth in the song. I love how it sounds in fingerstyle, especially when you play a ballad. And before we continue to our next point, I want to welcome you to join to my Patreon community. That's where I'm doing weekly live classes and releasing replays. We have various tiers from beginners till advanced, so you can definitely find lessons which are suitable to your level. I'm covering every possible style of playing, from fingerstyle to chord melody, strumming, and even percussive playing. And we have the sweetest and the most supportive community of ukulele players from all over the world. This is the perfect place for you if you want to take your ukulele playing into a whole new level. So join us today at our Spicy Uke Patreon community. I hope to see you there. And now to our second point, learning curve. High G is easier for beginners. So if you just picked up the ukulele, you will notice that high G is a bit easier on the fingers, so it's easier to press. You'll have less pain by pressing the string to the fretboard. While the low G string cuts a little bit more into your finger, and that requires a little bit more technique. So chords on the high G ukulele rings beautifully with less technique. So basically, the high G ukulele is a perfect instrument if you just picked up the ukulele, while the low G will require a bit of extra practice time. And before we move on to our next point, don't forget to click on the notification bell and subscribe to my channel. And now to point 3, chord emotion and character. Sparkly versus full. Certain chords sound simply magical on the high G. And here are some of my favorite ones. F added 2. This beautiful C shape. It rings so beautifully. This beautiful F chord with C in the bass. As well as this beautiful D chord with G in the bass. Ooh, pretty spicy. Let me show you how these magical chords sound on the high G ukulele. So what makes this chord sparkle is the high G on the 4th string. That sounds so special. Just to compare, let me play you the same chords on the low G ukulele. Not sure about that. Well, this is pretty, but it doesn't sparkle. This one is also cool, but it doesn't get any close to that beautiful high G sound. might be a little bit too spicy for me. However, what sounds better on the low-G ukulele is playing bar chords. So if you happen to play bar chord shapes, such as this one, by playing them on the low-G ukulele, you get that beautiful bassy low-end sound. And just for reference, let me play you these two bar chord shapes on the high-G ukulele. For my opinion, they sound pretty thin, so there's not much bass going on. So what really sounds amazing on the high G is those open string chords. They really sparkle. That's the magical thing about the high G. Open chord shapes sound beautifully on the low G as well. They give you a lot of bass. They remind us of the guitar, and they sparkle a little bit less. Point number 4. Fingerstyle versus strumming. Light versus deep. So if there is one thing that really distinguishes the sound between high G ukulele and low G ukulele, is the depth of sound. High G tuning sounds lighter and cheerful, while low G sounds deeper and richer. So for this one, I want to compare two playing styles, strumming versus finger picking, and I'll be demonstrating it on each one of my ukes. So here is how fingerstyle sounds on the high G. And now to our final point, scales and improvisation. One of the things that kept me being excited about music throughout all these years is the freedom of expression. In other words, I simply love to improvise. In a nutshell, improvisation means creating music right at the moment. When we improvise a melody or play a solo, we use scales. And scales are logical combinations of notes. So when it comes to playing scales and improvising, I personally think that the low G tuning has an advantage because the strings are organized in a very logical way, from low to higher strings, where the fourth string is the lowest one and the first string is the highest one. This way helps me make better decisions when I improvise, because I have a better overview of the low strings versus high strings. I'll give you an example with a scale. This is going to be the G major scale, and it goes like this. I just played it in 2 octaves. As you could tell, I started on the low G note, then continued with playing the scale until the next G note, the higher pitched one, and then I entered the second octave. This is a perfect way of playing a G major scale. And now let's compare it with the high G ukulele. So because of the order of the strings is different and the top 4th string is a high G, it breaks the flow of the scale. Let me play again the G major scale but with the high G. So the first octave started with a high note, which broke the entire flow of the scale. And suddenly we go lower. However, the second octave from the G on the second string, 3rd fret, sounds actually perfectly. Let me play you a short improvisation over the G major scale with the low G string. And now let's try to improvise with a high G. So basically the entire beginning of my improvisation, which I did on the low G, doesn't really work here. It doesn't really make sense. When I improvise on the high G ukulele, I tend to avoid the high G string. So the low G ukulele sounds great in jazz and blues and every style which is associated with improvisation. Now, before we summarize everything, and I'll tell you which one is the right for you, I want to remind you to click on the notification bell and subscribe to my channel. This way, you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Also, let me know in the comments which tuning you prefer. And now to our final chapter. Which one of the tunings is the right for you? My honest opinion about the high G and the low G tuning is that they're both great, and I would highly recommend you to have them both because each one of them has unique features and it depends on the style of the song that you are playing. So with small adjustments, you'll be able to play on both. But if you really have to choose one of them, choose high G if you want the Hawaiian classic sound. If you love bright and punchy strumming, mostly follow tutorials on YouTube since most of them are high G tutorials. If you're a complete beginner and if you want something easy and forgiving. And if you like sparkling and dreamy chords. And choose low G if you want fuller, warmer, and a guitar-like tone. If you like to play fingerstyle, solo arrangements, or emotional ballads. And if you want deeper bass notes with a more expressive sound. If you want a logical, linear scale system. And if you like improvising, jazz, blues, and melodic solos, which is perfect if you're switching from guitar. And if you simply want more dynamic range in recordings and performances. And one more advantage of the low G is, if you're switching from guitar, the low G tuning will seem very familiar to you because the low G tuning is equivalent to a capo on the 5th fret of the guitar, and then take out the 5th and the 6th string. The sound, the shapes, and the technique will be just the same. And if you still can't decide, start here. Beginners, high G. Fingerstyle players, low G. Singer-songwriters, low G. Reggae, pop, and island strum, high G. People who want that traditional Hawaiian uke sound, high G. And guitar players who are switching to ukulele, low G. Let me know in the comments what will be your choice. And that was it for today. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.